So we're going to be doing a couple of things with this video. One, I'm going to be introducing, I guess, myself. I'm going to start doing uploads. And I'm just going to start doing some raw uploads because I'm not really the kind of person where I'm going to sit down. I'm going to do edit videos together and do all that. So they're going to be pretty raw. Just going to be like I start recording and I start talking. We'll maybe pick a subject to talk about, and that's pretty much it. But the other thing we're doing is this is the first ride since getting the computer for this back from Superbike Unlimited. So this is the first ride feeling out how the bike feels after the tune. So I guess I'll start with the introduction and then we'll talk about that. So I'm Matt. I'm 30, so a little bit older as far as, I guess, people in motorcycle YouTube spaces go, but I've been riding since I was 12, riding dirt bikes. Rode dirt bikes all the way up until, I guess I still ride dirt bikes, just not as much as I did when I was younger. Rode dirt bikes a lot when I was a kid. Kind of fell off, got into cars, but was still riding dirt bikes every now and again. Went a long time without riding dirt bikes, probably 5 or so years, and then got another dirt bike. But in that time frame, so got into cars. My girlfriend at the time wanted to ride motorcycles, asked me to teach her, and I said no because I knew how dangerous it was just from riding dirt bikes. You know, you're very vulnerable on two wheels. It's not like in a side-by-side or in a car on the street where, you make a little mistake and oops, I bumped into something, I maybe broke something, stuff like that. You pay dearly for mistakes on two wheels. So, wow, this thing fucking pops really loud. Anyway, so I said I wasn't gonna be a part of it. I said if you want to learn how to ride a motorcycle, go take a course. They'll teach you the fundamentals. But I'm not gonna have any part of it. So she did. She went, she learned, and then she got her license. And when it came time to buy a motorcycle, she was looking at bikes. She found a Ninja 250R and like an older one. Well, it wasn't old at the time, 2008, but this was back in maybe 2014, I think. But so she said, will you come with me and make sure it's a good bike? And I said, of course, because it was over, right? Like, she was buying the bike. So I have a background in working on stuff, cars, bikes, all kinds of shit. I'm a mechanic. So I wasn't gonna let her buy a shitty bike. I'm gonna make sure she bought like a nice, safe bike. So went with her, she bought it, and then I was like, well, cat's out of the bag. So I went out and I bought 2008 R6. So that was my first street bike. It was a good bike to start on. I would say going from riding dirt bikes directly to riding something like that era R6, that's a very aggressive riding position, like there's a reason that people pick them as track bikes. I would say that was maybe not the smartest move. I was at that point been, like I said, riding dirt bikes a lot. I was really familiar with the way that like a motorcycle handles, but the way you ride a dirt bike and the way that you ride a sport bike, like the way that you maneuver the bike underneath you, is much, much different. On a dirt bike, it can come down to it can come down to like the way that you use your weight on dirt bike, but a lot of it's like throwing the bike around underneath you and making it do what you want that way, whereas a sport bike's a lot about using your weight to get the bike to do what you want to. So it's more you moving around on top of the bike. So there were a couple of scary instances on the R6 where, you know, go into a corner and not used to the way you really got to lean and push the bars and, you know, use your body weight. And, you know, definitely almost went wide, like too wide, crashed a couple of times before I got used to it. But so I think I would have been a lot better on something that was a little bit more in between. For instance, a friend of ours just bought an R7, new R7, and rode that, and that is more what I think would have been a good transition bike for me, because it's a little bit more upright than the R6 was. Not quite as easy to get yourself into a load of trouble on it. I mean, it'll still get you in trouble, but not as bad. But yeah, so that was my first motorcycle. Rode that for a while. Eventually, natural progression was I wanted something more after, you know, 3 or 4 years, I think it was. And when the BMW S1000 RR first came out, I saw one. A guy had just bought a brand new one, a black one, and I thought it looked so cool with the asymmetric headlights. It looked so mean. It had like that mad scientist look to it. And so when it came time for me to get a second bike, I was like, okay, I really would like an S1000. So I started looking. I found one that was really well maintained, had some miles on it, but like the guy that owned it prior really like cared about it, took good care of it. So that was my second motorcycle, was a 2010 BMW S1000 RR. Yeah, rode that for a while. Very fun bike. After a while of owning that, for a while I kind of lost, I guess, my way. I started to get kind of worn out on the motorcycle. It was mostly my fault. All I was really doing was like, we didn't have a lot of really good roads nearby, so I would just ride it like to and from work, and that sucks, right? I mean, that's not the way you enjoy, especially a sport bike. So got wore out on it, convinced myself like there's something wrong. You know, maybe I don't like motorcycles as much as I thought I did. So I sold it. And I went and I bought another dirt bike, because I decided getting into dirt bikes was probably something that I would like to do. So went and got a 2019 YZ450. Rode dirt bikes a little bit for a while. That was fun. And then kind of started getting the itch for another street bike. Not too long after that, I missed it pretty quick. So I went and got I just wanted like a cheap street bike, but I was already used to leader bikes. So I went and I bought a 2006 I think it was. Yamaha R1. It was a chain brake bike. Had some damage to the subframe and to the fairings and stuff. Got it for pretty cheap. Had so it needed some maintenance done. So anyway, went and got that. Put a lot of work into it. Had the wheels powder coated. Redid the drivetrain, and you turn into the outside lane, which you're not supposed to, and then can't fucking figure out what you're gonna do. Yeah, put some candy red fairings on it. It's a really good looking bike. Rode that for a long time. Did a Tail of the Dragon trip on it. Yeah, good bike. Still to this day, like, for how much that bike costs, that chassis is one of the most impressive handling chassis. I mean, like, just changed direction really well, was super comfortable to ride. I mean, for a leader bike, it was. Transmission super smooth, power delivery super smooth, you know, all analog. Just a great bike to ride. So love that bike. We decided that we were done living on the East Coast, wanted to come out to the West Coast, just experience new things. I was at a turning point in my job. The housing market was good for selling, so sold our house. We moved out here, took the motorcycles with us. After I moved out here, still liked the R1, but didn't really ride it once we got out here. I don't really know why. It was just like the stresses of moving and stuff. What the fuck? But decided I wanted another S1000, but I wanted the newer one. I always really loved the 2015, 2016 ones because they had the full lower belly pan. It was the only 2 years that had the full belly pan on the bottom, because they did the body redesign where they extended the belly pan, made it look really good. But then after those 2 years, the new emissions requirements came in, then they couldn't fit the belly pan because of the cat. So I found a black 2015 S1000RR out here. Went and bought it. Love that bike, put a lot of money into it. Full Austin Racing. Titanium exhaust. It was Bren tuned. I mean, that thing was absolutely ridiculous. It made like 210 horsepower to the rear wheel. Rode that for a while, and then again kind of started getting burnout on motorcycles a little bit. I think my love for cars was kind of peeking through, where I was just like, okay, I want to do car stuff again. So this time though, I knew I was going to want another motorcycle. I think I just figured that if I could get a car, buy myself some time, I could just get another bike down the road, and the car would bide my time until that itch came back. So that's what I did. I sold it, and I got another project car. I don't know how much I'll kind of involve that car, just because this is mostly going to be geared toward riding and stuff. So if you guys want to see the car, I can talk about it and show it some more. But it was an imported Japanese Sylvia. And yeah, so did that for a while, and then was like, okay, it's time for another bike. And I bought this 2016 R1. I've always been a Yamaha guy. All my dirt bikes were Yamahas. And I had owned the R6 and the R1 prior. So got this and been messing with this. Reignited my enjoyment of riding. So decided, why not try the YouTube thing? Just do it kind of, do it in a way that I know that maybe I could maintain it, because that was always my problem with trying to do like YouTube and social media, is I'm bad about putting the the effort in, I guess. So I'm gonna try to just do like raw uploads, see how that goes. So anyway, that's it. That's pretty much like the history of me, my involvement with motorcycles. Yeah, so as far as, I guess, that goes, just do uploads whenever. Probably do a mix of maybe riding and maybe working in the garage if I can remember to get the damn camera out. But yeah, so if you have any specific questions, I can answer stuff like that, but otherwise I'm sure just over time from talking to the camera and stuff, I mean, naturally I'll probably just end up revealing the answers to questions that would come up anyway. I might talk sometimes about, you know, unfortunately, since I started riding motorcycles, the motorcycle community has become, like, I think when I first got into it, there were, like, back in the moto vlogging days, where it was like, no, what was it, like, Honda, whatever Honda, Brian 636, I mean, he's still doing it, but back in the day, with that, I don't know what all this is. But, you know, cat cam, stuff like that. It was more about just like talking about stuff, and then they would just ride around and talk about stuff, and like the occasional bike review or bike build. Nowadays with Instagram and stuff and like short form content, I think it's opened up the door for a lot more like drama, I guess. So seems like there's a lot more drama in the motorcycle community than there was back in the day. I don't know what we're doing here. Some sort of Hindu march, I guess. Oh my god. Huh. Interesting. Anyway. Yeah, so a lot more drama than there used to be in like the motorcycle community and stuff. So I don't know how much I'll comment on stuff like that. I mean, maybe, you know, as much as I hate to admit it, like talking about that shit's good for reviews, but good for reviews, good for views. I'll end up doing that a lot on this channel, like saying the wrong shit. But anyway. Yeah, so maybe I'll comment on some of it, but I really don't want to get involved. I've never been the kind of person that likes drama. So, yeah. So, second part of this, probably at this point becoming an exceedingly long video of just me talking. Is the tune on this. I haven't really gotten down on it. One of the big reasons I wanted it tuned is it just like popped so much before. Okay. So it popped like a lot before, so I wanted the smog stuff deleted just so it wasn't quite as bad. But I also wanted a little bit smoother throttle response, because it seemed just really choppy, and I had done some reading on like that if they're not tuned and they've got like the modifications like this bike does have done, that it can make the throttle feel choppy because the fueling map is just all screwy. So this bike has, this is an R1S, so it's not the you know, standard R1 that has like the titanium headers and the better engine internals and stuff, which I'm okay with. It's plenty fast the way it is, but it has obviously a Cat Delete mid-pipe and a Graves slip-on, a short Graves slip-on. Has a BMC race air filter in it, and it has smog delete plates. Yeah, so thought maybe it was tuned because it had a Cat Delete pipe on it when I bought it, and the smog delete plates were also on it when I bought it, but it had a stock air filter. And after riding it for a while and like listening to the way it ran, and I came to the conclusion that I was pretty sure it actually wasn't tuned. So sent the ECU off to Superbike Unlimited. So far so good. It still has this weird, like in second gear at certain throttles, which I've checked the throttle position sensor output and it seems fine, but at like 7,000 RPM, it's got this weird like dead spot where I can keep kind of giving it throttle and it won't really give me what I'm expecting out of it. That is definitely dulled way down from what it was prior to the tune, but still there a little bit. The throttle input, I'm in power 2, so with the Superbike tune, all of the power modes give you the same horsepower, just they kind of change the way the throttle opening map works. So I'm on power 2 to kind of feel what, I guess, the more aggressive. They said most riders prefer 2 or 3. So far 2 feels really good. It's nice and smooth. I don't feel like it's gonna throw me off the bike like it did before. Like it would just give you really like weird, like out of nowhere it would be like, oh okay, you wanted more throttle, well let me give you like 30% more throttle, whereas now it feels much more linear. I haven't tried any other modes yet. I have it set up where mode A is power 1, mode B is power 2, and so on and so forth, you know, C, 3, D, 4. So I'm probably going to try each mode. I had to go to the bank, so kind of taking the long way around, just getting a feel for it, because it definitely feels a lot different now. Like, it definitely is faster, for sure. Like, there's no doubt about it. I just did that little pull and I said, holy shit, because it was trying to pull the front wheel in third, and it didn't really do that before, even in like the most aggressive modes. The popping is reduced in frequency, however it seems like it does still pop now and then, and it's much more of like a in your chest pop when it does it. So I think it's better. I don't like it being super obnoxious. I guess we could switch it over to power 1 now that we're stopped. I'll probably do a different video where I talk about the bike and like the differences between this and the other bikes I've owned. So far, my biggest thing with it, I really don't like that you can't change your modes mid-ride. I don't know what the point was when Yamaha decided that was a good thing to do, but I think that where on like my BMW I would keep it in a much tamer mode most of the time and then only switch it over to the more aggressive modes if I needed it or was doing something where it warranted it. I now keep this in like pretty aggressive modes. All right, let's see. So far definitely a lot more aggressive on-off throttle. Okay, yeah, that's pretty rowdy. Okay, and they definitely, I think, raised the rev limiter. Okay. So anyway, so now I keep this bike in like pretty aggressive modes most of the time because I can't switch it mid-ride. And I don't think that that's better. I think that that makes me... obviously the bike's in more aggressive mode, so it's easier to... I guess it all comes down to me, right? I mean, I'm the one twisting the throttle, so can't really make the, you know, blame the bike for it, but it would be nice to change it. And it would especially be nice, the biggest point that I've thought of, which I haven't been in the situation yet, is if you're on a ride and it starts raining, that you have to stop to switch it down into a lower mode with more aggressive, like I could slam the traction control and slide control all the way up mid-ride, but if I wanted to put it in a lower mode where everything is way more tame, I would have to stop, and that sucks. Like if you're riding on the highway traveling and it starts raining, it'd be nice to be able to just go, all right, mode D. Now it's super safe, ABS is max, traction control is max, you know, slide control is maxed, and the power is backed way off. But that's my only gripe. That's my only gripe with the way the systems work. I haven't tried launch control yet. I never tried launch control on my S1000, besides a couple times like at slower speeds and using it as like a rolling launch control. Kind of scares me to rev a bike to 10,000 RPM and then just start letting the clutch out, but yeah, the on-off throttle in Power 1 is very, very aggressive. But, okay, they're gonna bang a U-turn, almost definitely. Yeah. All in all, though, so far, the bike feels a lot smoother. It seems like it is happier and runs better, so shout out to Superbike Unlimited. Also, in Power 1, the throttle is like way snappier, like much more of what I expected it to be. I felt like it was very slow to respond before. Okay, well, just in the spirit of trying to limit editing, I'm still recording, right? Yeah. To limit the amount of editing I have to do, I'm not going to have long pauses, which I'm sure I've already done a few. But I'm probably just gonna end it here. I think I've talked about everything I want to. I'll probably, in like my next video, talk more about the tune once I've ridden it more and gotten used to it. I'm definitely not gonna upload every ride I do. I'll try to upload stuff that's interesting if I have something to talk about, but that's it. So anyway, I guess they're not making a U-turn. I was wrong. Yeah, we're coming to the bank, so I feel like that's a good natural endpoint. Wow, that throttle is aggressive in Power 1. Probably going to spend most of its time in Power 2, I think. Alright. Well, thanks for watching this. If you watched it, if you want to see more of my riding adventures, you can subscribe, which would be appreciated. Otherwise, you know, I work a full-time job. It's not my main source of income, so if you just want to stop by, I'm not going to pressure you to subscribe and stuff. It'll help grow the channel, but I'm not worried about it as far as revenue is concerned, because it's not going to be what I'm using to make money. So, all right, thanks guys.